I used to work the night shift at a small gas station just outside my town. It wasn't in the middle of nowhere exactly, but it felt like it. After midnight, the road would go silent for long stretches of time. No cars, no headlights, just darkness pressing against the windows. The store had large glass panels on three sides, so I could see the pumps, the empty highway, and the patch of woods across the street. During the day, it looked normal. At night, those trees felt closer somehow. My shift ran from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. Most nights were boring. I'd restock shelves, wipe down counters, and scroll on my phone while old country music played softly through the speakers. It was around 2:30 a.m. when things started. A tall man walked in. I didn't hear a car pull up. The bell above the door jingled, and when I looked up, he was already halfway inside. He wore a dark hoodie, hood up, hands in his pockets. I gave him the usual nod. "Evening," I said. He didn't respond. He walked slowly through the aisles, not picking anything up, just walking, stopping, looking at the shelves like he was reading something only he could see. I kept glancing at the security monitor. There were cameras covering every corner. On the screen, I saw him moving, but something about the footage bothered me. His reflection wasn't showing in the glass refrigerator doors. At first, I thought it was just the angle, but when he stopped directly in front of one of them, I could see the bright lights inside the fridge, the rows of drinks, but not him. I felt a cold wave run down my back. He eventually came to the counter and placed a single bottle of water down. He kept his head slightly lowered. "That'll be $1.89, I said. He slowly lifted his head. His eyes looked wrong, not glowing, not black, just empty, like he hadn't slept in weeks, or like he wasn't fully there. "You're alone tonight?" he asked quietly. The way he said it didn't sound like small talk. It sounded like he already knew. "Yeah," I answered carefully. He stared at me for a few seconds too long. Then he smiled. It wasn't wide, it wasn't exaggerated, just a small, tight smile that didn't reach his eyes. "You shouldn't be." Before I could respond, he paid in cash and walked out. I immediately checked the camera facing the pumps. There was no car. He walked past the pumps and straight toward the road, then toward the woods, and he didn't stop. I watched him on the grainy monitor as he stepped into the trees. He didn't use a flashlight. He didn't hesitate. He just disappeared into the darkness. I tried to brush it off. Maybe someone dropped him off. Maybe I didn't hear the car. But at 3:15 a.m., the phone rang. It was the store's landline. "Gas station," I answered. Silence, then faint breathing. "Hello," I said again. The breathing got louder, slower, like it was right against the receiver. And then I heard it, the sound of wind and leaves crunching. The same sound I'd been hearing faintly through the front door when the wind blew from the woods. I froze. The caller whispered, "I can see you." I dropped the phone. My heart pounded so loud I could barely think. I looked at the windows, the pumps, the trees. Everything looked still. Then across the road at the edge of the woods, I saw him standing between the trees, just standing there, watching. I immediately locked the front door, even though company policy said we had to stay open 24 hours. I called my manager, but he didn't answer. I called the police. They said they'd send someone. For the next 10 minutes, the phone kept ringing, over and over. I didn't pick up again. When the police finally arrived, they searched the woods. They didn't find anyone, but they did find something. About 20 feet inside the tree line, they found a small folding chair facing the gas station, and on the ground next to it, dozens of cigarette butts, like someone had been sitting there for hours, watching. I quit 2 weeks later, but here's the part that still bothers me. A few months after I left, I stopped by during the day to grab gas. I went inside to say hi to the new night guy, who was working an afternoon shift. We were talking casually when he said something that made my stomach drop. "Yeah, nights here are weird," he said. "Sometimes I see someone standing in the woods across the street, just watching." He laughed a little. I try not to look too. When I was 22, I worked as a night security guard at a small office building downtown. It wasn't a high-risk job. The building had 5 floors, and most of the offices belonged to small businesses, accountants, insurance agents, stuff like that. My job was simple. Walk each floor once every hour, check doors, make sure nothing was out of place. The building always felt different at night. During the day, it was bright and full of noise. At night, it felt hollow. Every footstep echoed. Every elevator ding made me jump. One night around 1 a.m., I was on the 3rd floor doing my usual round when I heard something. A faint clicking sound, like someone typing on a keyboard. I stopped walking. All the offices were supposed to be empty. I had personally checked every door an hour earlier. The sound came from the far end of the hallway. Click, 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 slow, steady. I told myself it was probably a cleaning crew, but they always signed in at the front desk. No one had come in. I walked toward dim to night mode, casting everything in a dull yellow glow. As I got closer, I saw lights spilling from under one office door. I checked my clipboard. That office belonged to a small marketing company. They closed at 6 p.m. The typing stopped. I knocked gently. Security. No answer. I tried the handle. Locked. But the light was still on. I crouched slightly and looked through the narrow glass panel beside the door. The office looked empty. The computers were off. The desks were clear. And the lights inside were off too. The light I saw earlier was gone. I stood there confused. Then I heard the typing again, right behind me. I spun around. The hallway was empty. The sound echoed down the corridor like it was coming from every direction at once. Click, click, click. Then it stopped. I didn't sleep well after that shift, but things escalated. At 2:12 a.m., the elevator on the security monitor showed it being called to the 5th floor. No one had entered the building. I watched the screen as the elevator doors opened on the 5th floor. No one stepped out. Then, slowly, the elevator doors closed, and it started going down. It stopped on the 3rd floor, the same floor where I heard the typing. My radio crackled with static. I didn't remember pressing the elevator button. No one else was there. I forced myself to go to the... When I stepped out of the stairwell, the hallway lights flickered once. At the far end of the corridor, I saw a figure standing near the office with the glass panel. Tall, still, facing me. The lights flickered again, and the figure was gone. I ran to the end of the hall. No doors were open. No windows were broken. But inside the marketing office, every computer monitor was on. And on every screen was the same thing, a blank document with one sentence typed over and over. I'm still working. The police checked the building. No signs of entry. I quit that job after a month. The building was eventually renovated, but last year I ran into someone who works there now. I asked him casually how night shifts were. He laughed. Quiet, he said, except sometimes the computers turn on by themselves around 2 in the morning. He paused. And they're always on the This happened to my cousin, who worked the night shift at a hospital. She was a nurse in the older wing of the building, the wing that most people avoided because it had been partially shut down for renovations. Her shift started at 11 p.m. Hospitals at night are never fully quiet. There's always a machine beeping somewhere, a distant cough, a cart rolling down a hallway. But that wing was different. Most of the rooms were empty. The lights were dimmed. Half the hallway lights didn't even work. One night around 3 a.m., she received a call from room 317. That was strange. Room 317 wasn't supposed to be occupied. She checked the system. No patient assigned. Thinking it might be a glitch, she walked down the hallway. As she approached, she noticed the door was slightly open. The room was dark. She knocked softly. Hello? No answer. She pushed the door open. The bed was empty, but the heart monitor was on, and it was beeping, steady, as if someone's heart. She stepped closer. The monitor suddenly flatlined, one long, piercing tone. She jumped back. Then slowly, the machine started beeping again. Normal rhythm. She felt a wave of cold air brush past her, and then she heard it right beside her ear. I'm not ready. She spun around. No one was there. She ran out of the room and called maintenance. They checked the equipment. They said the monitor wasn't even plugged into a patient port. It shouldn't have been able to display a heartbeat at all. A week later, an elderly man was admitted unexpectedly. He was placed in room 317. He was stable at first, but at exactly 3:07 a.m., his heart suddenly stopped. The nurses tried everything. They couldn't bring him back. My cousin told me something she never reported. When they checked the time of death, it was 3:07 a.m., the exact time the monitor had flatlined the week before. And as they were wheeling his body out of the room, the heart monitor turned back on, beeping, steady, even though no one was connected to it. My cousin transferred to another wing after that, but she told me one last thing. Sometimes during night shifts, she still hears a phone ring at exactly 3:07 a.m., even when no one is calling.